Over here to the left, Benowitz, Columbus Dispatch.
At what point during the game did your thoughts already start thinking to next week?
No comment. Yeah, I can't get into that. I mean, it's, I would just say, though, that our team did a great job of staying focused this week. Not easy to do for anybody, but we did. We stayed in the moment and, played well. But, the minute we get into that locker room, it's on to the next week.
Over here to the right, Clay Hall, WSYX, and then Tim May.
That 1 minute sequence to start the second half turned the game, and was that the result of some comment at halftime?
Well, we wanted to win the first 5 minutes. We ended up scoring, I think, 14 in the first minute. Touchdown, turnover, touchdown. It's something that we talked about all year, is coming out in the second half and playing well. Every year you try to identify the areas that you want to improve on, and that was an area that we wanted to do a great job with. And so good to see us come out like that and give us a little bit of a cushion, and then allowed us an opportunity to get some of those guys out of the game and rest it up for next week.
Cameron Teague Robinson, The Athletic.
Ryan, in the last 2 weeks, you guys have nearly put up 1,000 total yards. Just what have you learned about Kyle the last 2 weeks that you think can will benefit him going into?
Yeah, no, you can see him when he's on rhythm and making some big time reads down the field. I thought he threw some good balls today. And when he's playing situational football and his feet are in rhythm like that, you can see. I mean, we got the weapons and he's got the talent. So, it's all been a build up towards this week to go swing as hard as we can and play our tails off. So I feel like we have all of our weapons here and healthy, and that's great. We'll get Tommy back for next week. Tommy was ready to play in this one, and I had to pull him back, and it was almost a fist fight, but I won. It took some I'll be honest, it took some late night texts last night he wanted to play, and this is a guy who has put so much into this program. Coming back for senior day, for him not to be out there was really hard for Tommy, really hard. But I just explained to him there's just too much line moving forward to risk any kind of setback, that we need him at his best. And he was, after some calming down, he was okay. But it was not easy for him to not play in this game, and that was my decision. He was ready to go. He pushed himself to get to a point, but he'll have another great week of practice and be at 100% going into next week.
Over to the right, Austin Ward, the podcast, and then Tim May.
Ryan, I'm sure you'll look more closely on film, but did you feel in the first half when you talk about Kyle's footwork, it seemed like maybe he wasn't in quite the same rhythm as he was a week ago? Did you have that sense at all in the first half with him?
I have to look at the film quickly. We're not going to really dive into this film all that much, but we are going to grade it and make sure we stay with our routine. I'll have to look at a couple of them. I know there were a couple that the looks were a little bit different than what we expected. And so, in those moments, you got to keep your feet moving and move on to the next thing. So I think, there was good play, and then there was some things that we could probably scheme out better. And then also, moving on from the first or second thing and try to find the next part of it.
Over to the left, Rob Aller, Columbus Dispatch, and then Nathan Baird.
Ron, what's the challenge of the fine line between playing guys and taking them out so they don't get injured? And was you swallowing hard at the end of the first half? Kyle drops back and gets hit there and kind of gets up slowly.
It is. It's you got to thread that needle. You do. And ultimately, we have to win every game. So that's the number one goal. But you can't do anything. Anything less than 100%. When it's time to go, you got to go. And you certainly can't go in there and try not to get people hurt. It doesn't work that way. You got to go, and we did. We played hard. We played physical. But when we were able to come out in the second half and build a little bit of that cushion, it was good to get those guys out and get them some rest. And, that was the ideal situation for us. Is that if we could get them out and not play the game, it allowed us a little bit more rest heading into next week.
At the end of the half, there, with the
I think we had 4 drives inside the 10 or so, and I guess we could have just jumped into a 2-minute and fired it down the field, but a tip ball or something goofy or a sack, and the ball comes out, and all of a sudden you're into the fourth quarter, and I just felt like we had the ball coming out in the second half. So we ran it a few times. We got a first down. Then we got the penalty. But even the third down, I should have just run it. I mean, I knew the crowd wouldn't be too fired up about it, but that's the job of the head coach to do the decision that's best for the team at that moment. But there was still, I think, 20 seconds on the clock, and I felt like maybe if we got a first down, we had a couple timeouts left, we could possibly push it up for a field goal, and the game was still in the balance at that point.
Tim May, the Tim May Show.
Yeah, Ryan, just your defense once again, a 50-something yard field goal cost you a shutout. I mean, you feel for those guys a little bit as hard as they played tonight. And then number 2, TreVeyon Henderson. Once again, the big burst. I mean, it's obvious what he brings, right?
Yeah, no, he's a home run hitter, and the more opportunities he gets, and he gets to the second level, he's dangerous. Once we get him back, once everybody's jumping to get him. And I thought on that play in particular, I have to watch the film, but I think Emeka and I think Julian sprung him on the perimeter. But the guys up front did a nice job moving the line. I think Cade did a good job too on the backside of that. And you were asking about the defense. Yeah, well, listen. Yeah, I just not having Tommy out there. Got a couple of guys down. I think we should be at full capacity next week, which is great. But it's all going to be next week, and but you're seeing the stride. It is what it is. We're getting better every week. But it's all good. It's all headed towards the end of the season and playing our best football.
Nathan Barrett, Cleveland.com, and then Dan Hope.
When you say you think you'll be at full strength next week, does that include Mike Hall?
Yeah, I mean, I'll try to give you guys somewhat of an update next week, but yeah, we're expecting to get everybody back.
And with Kyle, you've talked before this season about how over the course of the season, the answers you're getting from him when he comes off the field has been progressively better. You're getting the answers you wanted tonight in those red zone short field situations.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, for the most part, he saw it. It wasn't there wasn't one where he came back and said I didn't see it that way. There was a play action pass where the corner was there. I asked him if he saw the corner. He said yes. He still made the throw and he snuck it in there, which was a really good ball. So no, I think he's seeing it well, and yeah, I mean the communication's been good.
Over here to the right, Bill Landis, the podcast.
Ryan, it seemed like Emeka had his burst back today. I don't know if you felt that too down there, and how important was it to kind of get him feeling like himself again going into the next?
Huge. Yeah, it was. I saw it too. Saw it a little bit this week, and then it was great to see him in the game, kind of playing like that. You can see him. We tried to get him involved with a couple runs, a couple things on the perimeter, just to kind of see that. And yeah, I mean he's getting as close to 100 as he could possibly be.
Over to the left, Dan Hope, 11 Warriors.
Ryan, Jack Sawyer had 3.5 tackles for loss today. Could you see that kind of performance coming from Jack with the way he's been playing lately?
Yeah, he's been playing hard. His attitude's been great. Yeah, I think what do you have? Four something tackles, sack, and then the sack fumble, which was big, right? That was Jack, and then he had the 3.5 TFLs, which is excellent. So yeah, I think he's getting better every week. Good news is best football's ahead of him. But another guy who just keeps putting time in, man. He just keeps putting days together. He keeps preparing, keeps grinding. Just like a bunch of those guys on defense. And that all we're counting on to pay off here down the stretch.
All right, we're going to take just a few more questions for Coach, but in the meantime, I've got Jack Sawyer here. I'm going to move him to the far back table to the left. So if everybody at the tables could clear off there, those are for the student athletes. Jack, if you don't mind going to the far left. All right, well, over here to the right, Dylan Davis, Delaware Gazette.
To play down today and burn one of those games he has left.
Yeah, so he had 2 left, and so that's it. So, and then he's got next week. So
Part of it, we just wanted to get him to run out there to keep him fresh in case we would need him tomorrow or next week or down the stretch.
Yeah, we felt like we wanted to get him in the game a little bit because it's been as he hasn't played a ton this year, and I thought, like you said, going into next week or moving forward, it'd be good to get him some carries. I don't know how many he ended up with. Yeah, 8 carries. That's pretty good. 4.2 yards a carry. Thought he ran good when he was in there. Yeah, the way that it's done in the past is that you get 4 games and then you have postseason. Yeah.
Okay, we're going to go 2 more questions for Coach Stephen Means, Cleveland.com.
Ryan, as you had asked earlier, Mecca looked a little bit better today. Obviously, Marvin's been Marvin all year. The way TreVeyon is running, the way Kyle's progressing. Is this offense 11 games into the season where you want it to be heading into next week?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we're here. we're here now. And is there always things we want to get better at? Absolutely. But I think you're seeing the identity that we're looking for. I think you're seeing the run, you're seeing the pass, you're seeing the explosiveness, and that's what we want. And so we're 11 games in, time to go play.
Spencer Holbrook, Letterman Row.
Ryan, you talk all the time about how everything falls back on the head coach, just at everything level of the program. Next week means everything to the program. Is it easier to stay focused on the days ahead when you have the guys that you just credited staying locked in on the days ahead and not trying to get ahead of themselves? How much easier does that make it for you to stay?
Yeah, I think the key is to stay in the moment. There'll be emotion this week. There'll be a lot of there'll be a lot this week, but there'll be noise. There'll be everything. What we have to do is we have to do a great job of preparing. We can't do different. We have to stay with our routine, focus on maximizing every minute of this week, and then noon on Saturday is going to come. That's not going to come any faster by us, doing something else. So we need a great week of preparation, and then we're all in this thing together. We are. I love this team. We've been working hard to get to this point, and so we need a great week of preparation. And then we get on that bus and we get our.
Final question for Coach Rob Aller, Columbus Dispatch.
Yeah, I don't know your game day schedule, but did you watch any of the Maryland-Michigan game? Did you catch any of that? What did you think?
I might have. Yeah, I might have. I mean, when you have time, you're always watching the other games, and certainly that one was.
Coach, thank you very much.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, for Coach Knowles, to the left, Nathan Baird, Cleveland.com.
Jim, just the job you guys did stopping the run from the beginning tonight, especially on first down, not letting Minnesota kind of get into what it wanted to do. How instructive or how important is that momentum in that capacity going into next week?
Last question for Jack.
That's a big deal. We've been much better in our coverage and defending the explosive in the pass game. I felt like over the past few weeks we've given up a couple things in the running game. So, it was really important for us to, make a showing in the running game to keep getting better.
Over here to the right, Dylan Davis, Delaware Gazette.
Jack Sawyer was all over the place today. Was this as good as you've seen Jack play since you've been here at Ohio State?
Yeah, Jack's been on a great streak. He's really embraced his role. He's consistent. He understands the scheme. He knows when he can take chances. He's been really effective in the running game, which I think sometimes goes unnoticed. But he's just a guy we count on, and he's a stalwart for the defense.
Okay, and this last question in the back there for Jack Sawyer, please. Over here to the left, Dan Hope, 11 Warriors.
Jerry, you mentioned Jack being on a great streak. Is there something maybe different you've seen from Jack in recent weeks where he's taken his game to another level?
No, Jack's always been a great team guy, but I see just a steely-eyed focus. He's a nice young man, really is. But he's turned into a cold-blooded gentleman, which is what we like.
Over to the right, Bill Rabinowitz, Columbus Dispatch.
First of all, what do the opposing field goal kickers have against you guys? Kicking 53, 54-yard field goals. But seriously, you guys have waited, you personally especially, 52 weeks for a chance at this game again. How much anticipation is there? How much confidence is there? However you want to describe your feelings going into that game.
We're going to digest this one, obviously look for the things that we can get better at from this game. I think that's important. And, it's a build. It's a build, and it's going to be a build starting tomorrow. And, obviously I'm sure the guys are going to be ready, and we've come to count on our defense, and it needs to remain that way.
Joey Kaufman, Columbus Dispatch, and then Katie Kapusta.
Second week where Bill said they make a 50-yard field goal and your chances of a shutout are spoiled. Is that something that you guys cared about, having a shutout, having a 0 on the scoreboard, the fact that it's been elusive, or do you look at the defensive performance and a lot of other things that tell the story?
Yeah, I think the game, tells the story. It's obviously nice to get it if you can, but more importantly, we look at all the situations, and we break those down. So it is what it is.
Over to the right, Cameron T. Robinson, The Athletic.
Jim, you never really had a chance to see Jordan healthy in the defense last year. How much of a difference does he make? Is he making right now because of how versatile he is?
Yeah, Jordan's been just a huge plus for us. To have a cover skills corner who's also willing to mix it up in the run game. I mean, you've seen him. He's willing to get dirty. He attacks the run game. So it's giving us an added dimension.
Over to the left, Katie Kapusta, Spectrum One.
Jim, you talk about building up to next week. There's been so much buildup, especially on the defensive side from what happened last year. How do you think this defense compares in terms of being ready for this big game, especially considering these last couple performances?
Yeah, I mean, it's all about confidence. Defense and playing defense at this level is a lot about confidence. So when you can show them things, that we've done well here this season, how that matches up to what we're going to do, it certainly beats any talk. Experience is a great teacher, and we have it now. Where we can be counted on.
Brendan Gulick, Buckeyes Now on Sports Illustrated.
Jim, you guys make it pretty clear that you guys are focused on one thing, one game at a time, 1 week at a time. So I'm not asking you about next week. But from week 1 to week 11, particularly the back end of the defense, how much better do you feel about this group here toward the end of the season compared to where you were at the beginning of the year?
Yeah, I think we all feel better, when you're playing in the back end and getting your hands on passes and contesting routes and being in the right position when you're supposed to be on top. And, you see the numbers, most of plays. I mean, that tells the story. It's just something that gives everybody confidence. It gives the whole confidence.
Over to the left, Jeff Gilbert, Press Pros.
Talked about Jack, steely-eyed, focus. How much of this season do you feel like all the guys that are out there at one time are really focused on that? And has that been something that's built? You're there now, or are you still trying to get there?
We're always trying to get better, but I felt like I saw it in the first game. I thought that was a big deal. Come out in the option and guys are able to adjust. And you saw it over the course of the season with, some good things in the red zone and some tight games and guys not flinching. So, yeah, it's been a build since the first game, but there's been a focus since last spring, including myself, to make sure that we can be counted on, and making the changes and adjustments that are necessary to win the matchup games.
Got time for just a couple more. Tim May podcast.
Yeah. You may have been asked this before I came over here, losing another shutout by a 50-something yard field goal. How much of a bummer is that? And then number two, this game coming up this week has been hanging out there for a long time for you, I would think, and stuff. But what are you already thinking about it?
Yeah, we talked about the shutout. I mean, that's not a bummer. Hats off to the kid. He made a long field goal. We look at the situations. We evaluate our performance and series by series, play by play, and yeah, I mean it's certainly the overall defense. Has been on my mind since last year, of course, of how we can be better, in these matchup performances. We've already had a couple. We got to build off that and be at our best.
Right. And last question for Coach Knowles. Over to the left, Rob Aller, Columbus Dispatch.
Jim, are all end zone celebrations created the same? In other words, do you just look the other way sometimes, or are they all teaching moments?
No, you don't look the other way. Certainly, we've talked to the guys about on the sidelines. We want them to celebrate, but you don't look, and that's something that can hurt you, in the future performance, and we'll eliminate.
Coach, thank you very much.
It seemed like sometimes near the end, y'all weren't all on the same page together, but then of course you got it rocking in the second half and stuff. Well, explain that from your vantage point.
Yeah, the biggest thing, I thought we moved the ball well in the first half, but obviously left some points, especially in the red zone. I think you convert those. It's a completely different first half. It's a different feeling too. I think we were just off a little bit, and I think as a result left some points on the field. But like you said, I thought the second half was a cleaner execution by us. So I think the biggest thing is just getting on those little errors early.
Bill Rabinowitz, Columbus Dispatch.
Kyle, kind of building off that a little bit. I mean, last week you were so sharp. It didn't look like you were as sharp. That kind of feeling you had too, and if so, what was the explanation for that?
Yeah, I mean, I think Minnesota was a good team. They're a good defense, and I think at certain points they made good plays. But I think the other side of that was we weren't like you said today. on certain plays. And like I said, I felt like a lot of the drives, we move the ball, move the ball, move the ball, and we just stall and have to kick a field goal instead of scoring a touchdown. And those are 4-point plays. So I think the biggest thing now is going back, watching the film, and why didn't we execute, especially early on.
Rob Aller, Columbus Dispatch.
One game at a time. We get it one play at a time. But now that it's here, how much have you been thinking about the upcoming game? How much do you allow yourself to think about it over the last, say, 10 weeks or more?
Yeah, I mean, and I think we say we prepare for it 365 days a year, and I truly believe that. I think guys on the team, we think about it every day, especially the way the last 2 years have gone. So to be back kind of in the same position that we were last year, to right the ship, I think everybody's definitely excited for it, without a doubt.
Came up limping at the end of the half there. Any aggravated injury there?
No, I mean, obviously a little bit of a weird tackle there, but popped up, and, just started moving on it, so I'm good.
Over to the right, Andy Backstrom, Letterman Row.
Mecca really looks like a Mecca tonight in terms of just seeing that burst. I feel like he hasn't had just from the injury. Did you see that? And what's it like to have him back now as close to 100% as possible?
Yeah, I told Mac this. I thought this was the best he's looked since coming back from his injury. I thought he looked explosive tonight. Looked confident too with the way he was moving, and it was good to see. And I know he's been working his tail to get back to this point. So to get him back, I think almost 100% at this time is huge.
Nathan Baird, Cleveland.com.
Kyle, what are the most important ways you feel like you've improved from week 1 to week 11 in order to do what you have to do next week and win that game?
Yeah, I think in every area, honestly. I think the biggest thing would just be that confidence level, having confidence in myself and my teammates around me. I think that was the biggest thing going back and watching that film from week 1. I would say, just a little bit of uncertainty. I think you can get as many practice reps as you want, but nothing is quite like this game reps. And so I think every week I'm getting more confident, more comfortable in there. And I feel like we're starting to get this thing rolling.
Cameron Teague Robinson, The Athletic.
Kyle, you mentioned Emeka getting back to his form, Trey's getting going. You now have kind of all the pieces we thought you might have all year. Is this starting to reach the potential you thought it might have early in the offseason?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is kind of what I've been talking about all year. I feel like we've been making strides in the right direction, and especially early on, the times where everything's clicking really good. And I think now we're starting to be more consistent, which is big. So I think the challenge now, obviously, with the opponent that we have coming up is how can we just continue that, continue to elevate our game, continue to play at a consistent basis. And I think that's been the mindset all year, so just continuing that this week.
Lori Schmidt, Columbus Dispatch.
Kyle, just how are you feeling physically?
Good. Yeah, I think at this point, week 11, I don't know if there's anybody on that field that's 100%. But I think the O-line has done a really good job of keeping me upright. And, I feel good. I think the biggest thing is just making sure that you're doing everything you can during the week to get your body to tip-top shape to go out there on Saturday.
Stephen Means, Cleveland.com.
You mentioned the losses the last 2 years of the Michigan game. Your role in this rivalry is very different this year than what it's been in the last 2 years, having to just watch it from the sideline. Is there any extra excitement or motivation and basically having a chance to impact that game the way that you maybe haven't the last 2 years watching it?
Yeah, 100%. I think, that's kind of been, how I felt regardless of who we played, just getting the opportunity to play that special. I think you take that and you put that with a rivalry. You can't draw it up any better than that. And so to be 11-0 right now, exactly where we want to be, this is kind of the way everybody in Woody envisioned the season going to get this point. That's what we worked for.
Got time for two more. Over here to the left, Joe Nugent, WCMH.
Another big game for TreVeyon Henderson. What does he look like from your vantage point?
Yeah, I mean, I think like you said, another big game for him. We needed it. I think there were times today where they sat in a too high shell and tried to take away the pass, especially Marvin. And when that's the case, there's any favorable run boxes, and I think Trey did staying again today, which was huge. I think really springboarded the momentum in the second half with that big run and getting us going. And I mean, man, another week, and it doesn't surprise me what he does. The work he puts in is really starting to show.
And final question, Spencer Holbrook, Letterman Row.
Kyle, what does it mean to get that touchdown to Cade on senior day?
Yeah. That's my guy. And I don't know if there's a guy that is a tougher dude who works as hard as he does, who does the dirty work. And so to get him that touchdown, I think that might have been his last play in the shoe. It's pretty special. So I can't really quantify what he means to this team, but to have that moment was pretty sweet.
Kyle, thank you very much.
Thanks.
All right, folks.